I'm really, really excited to announce Berkowitz. Matan Berkowitz is here with us today. I'm particularly excited to announce him because he is currently reinventing body percussion. You could say he's the upcoming rock star of digital music performance art and has developed a new way to translate movement, brainwaves, and heartbeats into music, turning everyday objects into instruments. Please give a big warm welcome to Matan Berkowitz. Music is the instrument.
Hello everybody, my name is Matan. I came here from Tel Aviv to talk to you about what I do, which is basically translating physical signals into music. I'm gonna show some of the prototypes and inventions I've made and talk a little bit about working with the special needs population to enable people with disabilities to play in new ways. And also at the end of the talk, I'm gonna demo something I'm working on these days, which translates movement into music. And hopefully we're gonna play some music on stage today as well. So let me start by really going from the top to the very beginning. My background, as you can see, this is some of the things we're going to talk about soon. This is kind of like a spoiler. Full screen, right? This is kind of a spoiler of some of the things we're going to talk about. But my background is actually in music and film. I came from art. And for many years, that's what I did. I was a screenwriter and a director. And I was traveling the world as a musician, and I was happy. But then gradually, I started feeling like something was missing. This little voice inside me kept telling me that my actions and my resources and my energy could be spent doing something more meaningful, something that would influence people's lives directly and help improve other people's lives. And as I started thinking about what that could be, I reached the conclusion that two things were missing. One was that sense of impact and meaning, and the other one was a sense of innovation, of making things that are new, that are unheard of, or that are actually innovative in their field. And so, without knowing too much about what I was doing, I decided to start a company. This kind of feeling of not really knowing who you are, that kind of identity crisis, not knowing what you want to be when you grow up, was foreign for me, because ever since I was a little kid, I knew I wanted to be a filmmaker and a musician, and that's what I became. And when I started this company, I called it Shift, because it was a shift for me. It was a change in my direction in life. And I decided to focus on innovation for purpose, meaning how to use technology, how to harness technology and innovation for positive impact, for important causes. And for the first year, 2014, of this company, that's exactly what we did. We worked with startups, we worked with organizations, nonprofits, municipalities, even a hospital. And all of our projects were about merging technology and impact. It was a very, very educational year where I learned a lot of new things, but I also started getting into this kind of scene of innovation in startups. And I was fascinated, especially by one thing, and that thing was hackathons. For those of you who don't know what a hackathon is, it's basically an event where people come together from different disciplines and different backgrounds. Usually you'll find developers, designers, makers, and they all build things together in a very condensed period of time. 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours straight, nonstop. And once you build these things, you come and present them in the end of the hackathon. You show what you've made, and judges award you some kind of prize to the best teams. And this format was amazing for me. I started like experimenting with different things I could do at a hackathon. Usually hackathons, they have some kind of center. It could be a new technology, it could be a theme where people build around that theme and try and kind of create different things for it. And what I found to be my theme was music technology. And this pattern started to emerge. I would come to a hackathon, I would start a team, we would build some kind of music technology prototype and win. And as these wins started to accumulate, my life started changing. Because instead of focusing on the work I was doing with clients, I started focusing on the work I was doing with music technology. And the more dominant that became, the more the company shifted from working with clients to doing in-house projects. And I want to show you some of these prototypes and inventions. So the first thing, and also the first hackathon I ever did, made me realize that what I'm fascinated by is the relationship between music, technology, and the human body. how can we translate our physical body into music, into sound? And I started making this distinction in my mind between what we could do physically to control our body, like moving our hands, moving our head, using our voice. We could use these things musically, we could control them. But also, there are other things in our physical body, more biological things, that we can't really control, like our heartbeat or our brain activity. These things are musical, at least for me. They seem very musical. But on the other hand, you might be able to influence them, but you can't really control them. So how do you make music with an instrument you can't really control? I'm going to show an example of each of these now. The first one would be the first hackathon I ever went to, which was for Google Glass. Do you guys remember Google Glass? It was an experiment for Google to launch the wearable device, a glass device that would basically have a camera and a microphone and all these different sensors on it. It was a bit early, a bit premature. And when it came to Israel, there was this big hackathon for Google Glass, and it was the first time any of us has ever seen it. And when I was there, I noticed that these different groups started forming, and they were forming around ideas that I felt were kind of awkward. For example, one group was trying to make a dating application using Google Glass. They reasoned that if you're at a date and you're not sure what to say or what to do, well, you have a camera and you have a microphone and you have this little screen, so the Google Glass could tell you what to say. If you've ever been on a date, you know it's a horrible idea. Why would you go with Google Glass to a date and say what the screen tells you to say? I wouldn't take Google Glass to a date, but I might take it with me on stage. So I started thinking, what could I do with Google Glass on stage? And what caught my mind, my curiosity, was that every Google Glass has this sensor called gyroscope that basically tracks your head movements, so it knows where your head is at every given point. How could you translate those movements into music? So I built the Google Glass Beats, which is basically an application that turns the Google Glass into a musical instrument. I'm going to show you a little video of that very first music technology prototype I made. If you look at the screen behind me in this video, you see there's a little dot that's moving. It's moving with latency, and it's tracking my head movements to show where my head is at any given point. And with this dot, I can control different effects on my voice. Right now, we can activate effects on my voice, like so. 1, 1, 1. You see the dot moving? When it's moving on the x-axis, it controls reverb. When it moves on the y-axis, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. It controls delay. It can also loop my voice. 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 It can also loop my...
Okay, Glass.
Drop the beat.
Glass Beats.
So this was the very first prototype I made, and it won the Google Glass Hackathon. We actually won that dating application for the Google Glass. And that really got my appetite going. I was like, all right, we can make all these different things. And especially, again, I was fascinated by the relationship with the physical body. But if this was controlled by my head movements, allowing me to loop and create layers, control effects using head movements, now came the time to try and use something more biological, something you can't really control. And so I started working with EEG. To those of you who don't know, EEG is basically a way to measure electrical activity in the brain. So you can try and detect different brain waves, different types of brain activity using this technology. And I teamed up with an Israeli startup called Neurosteer that developed a new way to do signal processing for EEG, to detect more data from brain waves and brain activity. And if you look at this graph behind me, you could see one of the things that inspired me to try and use this technology, because all this red and yellow data on this graph is basically brain activity, and it's very chaotic. But the guy who we're measuring here is an experienced meditator. And that part where there's nothing but a very thick red line is when that guy went into very deep trance. So he was able to consciously manifest change in his brain activity. And that got me thinking, this might become an instrument. This might become musical neurofeedback, using neurofeedback to create music. And the way this came about, the first prototype, was working with Sefi Udi. Sefi Udi is a paraplegic man. So he's basically constrained to a wheelchair. And he's a very inspiring individual. Before he became paraplegic, he used to play guitar. Ever since then, he missed playing guitar. He missed playing music, but he couldn't really do it with any conventional instrument. The EEG was a great opportunity for Sefi to try and express himself musically. So teaming up with Neurosteer, we created this EEG musical device that translated Sefi's and anyone's, basically, brain activity into music. Later that day, this was a hackathon as well called Tom, and later that day, Sefi was on stage in front of a lot of people, just like now, and he was playing music. Also, he was the only person I've ever met who was able to consciously make the music go on and off. His mind was so sharp and focused that he could say something like, now I'm going to stop the music for 20 seconds, and the music would stop. Me personally, I played many shows with EEG, and I could never do that, because for most of the time and for most of the people, this is very hard to control. The most you can do is try and relax or get very agitated, so the EEG could kind of measure your alpha brainwaves and detect how awake you are. But for any other use, it's pretty limiting. This is why I thought maybe we can take this one step further and make a musical hat. The idea with the musical hat was to combine both things. See, the Google Glass was a wearable device, but it was also a ready-made wearable device. I didn't make it, I was just using it. And I was curious to see what I could do if I start from scratch. So we took this designer hat that was made especially for us by Inspirala, and we added two components. The first thing was a gyroscope, just like the sensor in the Google Glass that could track my head movements. And the other thing were these buttons you see on screen that were enabling anyone to basically loop themselves and create layers, just like the demo I showed you. But the twist for this is that inside the hat, I also put the EEG reader. So now, while you're doing loops and controlling music using head movements, your head was consciously controlling the music, and your brain waves, your brain activity, were unconsciously creating music as well, basically merging the physical and the biological elements of making music using the body. This prototype was made at an event called Music Tech Fest, which is this pretty incredible event to anyone interested in this field, and it's happening at the end of this month in May in Berlin, so you should probably check it out. This next prototype was also made at Music Tech Fest, this time in London, both of which won Music Tech Fest for wearable devices. This is the prototype of a glove that measures your heartbeat. So, just like the brainwaves, I could convert the pulse of a person into music. And gradually, as I accumulated these different kinds of prototypes and inventions, I started creating shows that were based around the physical body making music. These shows were mainly made for big stages. This, for example, is a Microsoft stage, a big event for Microsoft. And for this show, we had both the EEG brainwaves and the heartbeat sensor. I was playing an electric guitar, there was a drummer, there was a didgeridoo player, and we were running the whole thing through water and sand to create these geometric patterns that you see on screen behind us in real time. At another show for Google, I just went on stage without any instruments, and all of the music was made with the body. One person was meditating on stage and kind of affecting his brain waves live, while another girl was running on stage and increasing her heartbeat live, and I was using motion to create more music, and all of the music was done using nothing but the body. Using the same technologies, I started experimenting with interactive art. So this, for example, this is Rorim. This is an interactive installation I made for Herzliya Museum, which is basically like this alien cocoon shape, and when you stand in front of it, it feedbacks your movements, your body, and it gives it light and sound. But the interesting thing about it is that if two people stand on both sides of this, it doesn't only mirror one of them, it mirrors both of them. So once they sync and start moving in the same way at the same time, the whole thing comes alive. The lights and the music climax, and basically it measures how in sync you are with another person in your movements. This kept going. I made this interactive kind of a dance thing with video mapping, and motion gestures. But as I was working on these projects, I started thinking, wait a minute, what about positive impact? You remember how for the first year I started Shift, and I was all about, yeah, let's do something that matters, let's help people. But a lot of these things were back to just having fun. Musical hats and dancers, it's pretty cool, but how are we helping people? How are we changing their lives? So if you think back about Sefi Udi, the paraplegic, the more I thought about this, the more I realized this connection between the physical body and music means the most for people with disabilities. This is Racheli. She's a young girl from Jerusalem, and she has this amazing positive energy about her, even though she's both cognitively and physically impaired. She can do basically nothing, almost at all. She can't really move, she can't really speak, at least not, consciously. The main thing Racheli could do, other than smile, is to wave her hand. And when my friend Eris Simon came to me and said, I want to create a musical instrument for Racheli, I want her to play music, that was a great challenge for me, because basically all Racheli could do was move her hand. That's what I call a one-button machine, because she can't even really fine-tune her movements. She's just moving. How could you really make music using nothing but that? How could you make music accessible for a person like Racheli? What we did was we created a glove. This glove, this is the first version of the glove. There were more versions later. And this glove has 3 different modes. So the first mode for the glove was drum mode. Basically, every time Racheli hits a surface, it creates first a kick sound, and then a snare sound. That way, when she would play it time after time, she could play drums like this. This was very empowering because she was able to start experimenting with rhythm. Nothing but hand movements, one hand moving, could enable her to play drums. The second mode was DJ mode, where I basically took Racheli's favorite song, which is this very uplifting, positive song about the Messiah, and I basically cut it into different segments, different bars. And so instead of just passively listening to the song, Racheli could trigger the next part of the song in time. She could choose when to bring the next part of the song in. So this listening experience also became an empowering, active, participatory experience for Racheli. And the third mode wasn't even musical. I took Racheli's mother to my home studio, and I recorded her reading 2 of Racheli's favorite children books. I then took those recordings and I cut them into individual sentences. That way, Racheli could trigger the next part of the story whenever she wanted to. And instead of being completely dependent on her mother, she could use this glove to read herself a story using her mother's voice and her own movements. Inspired by what this allowed me to experiment with and what it allowed other people to feel, I decided to take this one step further. And I came up with this theory called the Music Accessibility Pyramid. At the top of the pyramid, you have professional musicians. These are people who have technical abilities, they have equipment, they know musical theory, and they spend money on music, and they also make their money from music. Then you have people who are hobbyists. They have all the same things, but usually they don't really make music for money, they just really spend their money on it, because it's their hobby. Then you have people who are not musicians at all, basically thinking, oh, I should have started playing guitar when I was 14, or I could never drum. And all of these people are obviously wrong, because if they wanted to, any of us could just pick up an instrument at any given point and start playing. But we tend to forget about the special needs populations. People who might want to play have all the passion and dedication. They might be extremely talented as well, but they have these challenges preventing them from playing music. Cognitive challenges, physical challenges, making it much more difficult to experience the gift of music. And my theory was, what if we connect the 2 ends of the pyramid? What happens if we try and merge the professional musicians and the special needs population? And this became an event called Discotheque. Discotheque stands for Disability, Community, Technology. And it was the first event of its kind in the world dedicated to the creation of music technology for people with special needs. It was produced by my company Shift and also by an Israeli NGO called Imagine. I made a video about this event, and I'd like to show it to you. Are you guys ready? All right. Discotheque stands for Disability, Community, Technology.
The idea was to take 4 musicians with special needs to enable them to fulfill all their fantasies and musical dreams We have 4 different musicians with 4 different challenges, 4 different teams working on 4 different floors to create 4 working prototypes.
I was born without a hand. I've always wanted to be able to play so I can perform by myself.
The main challenge was to build the actual extension and at the same time to make the feel and the sound of the actual strumming of the guitar pick to sound like an actual arm.
When I was 18, I been through a snowboarding accident. Since then, I'm on a wheelchair. We are trying to combine few instruments together.
An harmonica and a microphone and a special kind of guitar.
Everything will be connected to a looper.
It's all modular, that you can actually disconnect and connect it back.
So my project here is to be a one-man band.
Roy now is 18 years old. We discovered when he was 15 months that he has a brain tumor. After the operation, we discovered that he's blind. Also, he became autistic. And after 2 months, he started to play. Because Roy is handicapped and he has a weakness all of his left side. He plays with his right hand with 4 fingers and the left hand with only 1 finger.
What we did is we used 1 finger he has on his left hand, and whenever he hits a note, we turn it into a chord by supplying him the ability to set the type of the chord using his legs.
Ofer Green is a very talented electronic musician. He was a student of mine. He has Mahado-Joseph disease. When I met him, he could still move a little bit and talk a little bit. And after a while, his situation worsened.
We will create a system that will send MIDI notes to the program so he can write scores.
There's going to be the camera that follows the eyes, functions as a joystick. He can use his right pinky. This is going to be his click.
And the music that he hears inside his head can get on the computer and from there to your ears.
We have here 3D printers, electronics, and Arduino.
Everybody's a musician and a programmer and a mathematician.
And designers and the most talented, brilliant people.
Wow.
So it's kind of fun, you know, like I'm hacking and in the background people are jamming in different, prototypes all over. It was really fun.
All the people that came here, they are volunteer. It's a project for them, and for me, it's more than a project. It's my son, and this is his life.
These 4 people represent so many people out there that will need these things and can benefit from them in the long term.
It's good for people with special needs, but it's also good for hobbyists, it's also good for children, and it's also good for professional musicians. The main goal and ambition here is to make music accessible to as many people as possible.
I've never even thought that I could play. I never even thought about it.
Music has been my psychologist, it's been my lover, it's been my best friend. It saved me, it really saved me.
I think music is the most powerful medium, in the world. And when you combine that with technology, which is a massive enabler, I think that's the perfect blend.
Let's go back to the start.
The main idea behind this event is to create continuity without boundaries.
I really hope it's not the last event. I really hope that it will grow, not just in Israel, but everywhere.
Discotheque is going to help a lot of people.
Rock on.
Thank you, guys. So, 1 second. Going back to the music accessibility pyramid for a second. This event was successful in some ways because it inspired a lot of people, and I went on this tour. And my theory was basically that if you take this pyramid and you connect the dots, what happens is the thing reverses. What helps a person with a great challenge will definitely benefit people with a lesser challenge, people who've never played, people for whom it's a hobby, and of course for people whom all of their lives are revolving around music. But also in other ways, I learned a lesson from Discotheque, because as I started going on a public speaking tour, speaking about this all over the world, I saw how many people were inspired and touched, but I also realized how difficult it is to bring these kinds of inventions, these kinds of prototypes into the mass market. How difficult it is to actually make them into products that assist and help and empower a lot of people all over the world. And the reason is money. This is a niche market. How could you make these inventions, these prototypes, into fully formed products if they're not commercially viable? This got me thinking a lot about what's the next step. Because I thought originally I should have more of these events all over the world. And I did make a lot of contacts with people wanting to make these events. But the more I thought about this, the more I realized if we make more events and more prototypes, more inventions, but we never make the products that actually get to the hands of the people who need them, what are we doing? And this brings us to today. And I'm very excited for this talk, not only because this is an amazing event, and you're a great audience, but also because I want to announce something I've been working on kind of secretly for a while. And it's two different projects. The first of which, the bigger one, is the evolution of the company and of the vision. Shift is on its way to becoming an innovation lab. But it's not just an innovation lab, it's an innovation lab for positive impact. It's an innovation lab meant to create things that would empower and help people and solve challenges. I've been fortunate enough to go on these tours at the MIT Media Lab, NYU Innovation Lab, Harvard Innovation Lab, Google X. I saw all these people working on inspiring projects, and I asked them questions, and I've been seeking the advice of people much more experienced than I am, and I'm hoping that by 2017 we're going to launch these labs, talking to potential partners now and dreaming about making this a reality. And in the meantime, I'm working on my latest project, which I have with me right here, and I'm going to demonstrate for you guys. Are you ready? Are you ready? Come on. All right. Okay. So this project is called Airstrument, and it's the first project for the lab. This is a prototype, obviously. It kind of looks like a prototype. First, let's see if the sound even works. All right, 1 second. Give me some volume. All right. So what this does is basically, this is the accumulation of what I've been talking about. I again went to Music Tech Fest, this time in Sweden, and I created this prototype for an instrument that's controlled by gestures, by hand movements. Because I realized this might be the most efficient, the most intuitive way for people who don't play music, to learn music, understand music. This spatial, intuitive movement could be what makes music accessible in a whole new way. And once we made this prototype, it won the hackathon, and we got into this incubation program called Music Bricks, which is part of the European Union. And we're now finishing the incubation program and going into the next level. And I'm going to try and do a little demo for you guys. Hopefully it works. Let's check it out. All right. All right. Thank you very much for your time. So just to finish off, thank you guys. Just to finish off, I just want to leave you with this one simple message. Find the sweet spot of what you're excited about, what you would do if no one would pay you, what you think about when you get up in the morning, and try and find where that meets what you think could benefit the world, what the world needs. And when you find that sweet spot, go for it and make a change. My name is Matan. Thank you very much. Enjoy.
Woo!